A few days ago, I did this handout with my students in Grammar 2, and we were contrasting the difference between simple present and present progressive. And so what I decided to do with them is kind of go back to the big picture and talk about how to formulate questions. And this is basically for, you know, general questions, not subject questions, but object questions. And we went over the question formula on the board before we started this handout to make sure they remember how questions are formed in English. So we had the question word, and then we have the helping verb, and then we have the subject, and then we have the main verb. So I put that at the top of the handout that you're looking at right now. We went over question formation. I wanted to kind of contrast questions in the simple present versus questions in the present progressive and see how they're different, and also remind the students that, of the uses of simple present versus present progressive. So after we went over the question formation formulas, then we read the story. So there's a story here, a very short story about Mike and what he does every day, his daily routine. And what they had to do is they had to use the 6 prompts here to make questions about the story. So what time does Mike wake up every morning, and how does he get to work every day, and where does he work, etc. So they wrote the questions based on the big picture formula that we had gone over earlier. We checked those questions just to make sure everybody got them right. So after they wrote the questions with their partner, I wrote the questions correctly, called on the students, wrote the questions that on the screen so everybody could see the correct questions. And then they had to take turns asking and answering the questions with their partner about Mike's daily routine. And I told them that they had to basically focus on saying their third person singular S sounds at the end of each word. So Mike wakes up every morning at 7 a.m. and he works as a hotel receptionist. So, and I kept reminding them, now, why are we using simple present here? Oh, it's because we're talking about Mike's daily routine. So the second part, it's the same story, same character about Mike, but it's in the present progressive about what's happening to Mike today. So right now, Mike is speaking to some tourists at the hotel where he works, and the tourists are asking Mike some questions about where to go in San Francisco. So again, they had to write questions about the story in present progressive, again going over the same formula for the questions, except for this time the helping verb changes, of course, because it's present progressive, so the helping verb is going to be a form of be, and then in the main verb they have to add the ing at the end. So who is Mike speaking to? Or what are the tourists asking Mike? How long are the tourists spending in San Francisco, etc. So I give them a few minutes to work with their partner to write the correct questions in present progressive. And then again, they have an opportunity to take turns asking and answering the questions with their partner. So you're using the third person singular again. Mike is speaking to some tourists. The tourists are asking about places to visit in San Francisco. So they ask and answer each other questions. So it's fairly straightforward. But again, what I'm trying to do with this handout is focus on both question formation and contrasting the simple present, habits and routines, versus the present progressive, what's happening today, what's happening right now. Then for homework, what I had them do is on the second page here, I had them write 5 questions that they would like to ask about their partner's daily routine. So what time do you get up in the morning? How often do you go to school? Or what time do you do your homework at night? Or what time do you eat lunch, etc. And then they had to write 5 more questions about their partner's life this semester. So again, if they're using this semester, it's kind of a long-term present progressive. So how many classes are you taking this semester? And when are you working this semester? And I don't know, who's your grammar teacher this semester? Any kind of questions that they want to write in present progressive using their questions about this semester. So then they come back with their questions written the next day, and they have to ask their partners about their daily routines, answering in simple present, of course, and then they ask their questions about their activities that are happening this semester. And so they're, again, both getting practice answering and asking questions in the simple present and in the present progressive. So basically, that's my little lesson for contrasting simple present and present progressive and the meanings or the usages of those two tenses and the question formation for both as well. So that's it.